This programme is brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
Oh, that's a big collar. Must have lost a Great Dane.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
I'm not fighting no more. Love is easy, love is not war. It was always in your core, so show 'em what you're made of. What have you been searching for? It's your time, step onto the floor. Let the winners show them more. Show 'em what you're made of. It's in your hand, you build your world. Stand up tall and do it all. And you will learn if you fly, not crawl. Paint your writing on the wall.
A fantastic weekend of netball on Sky Sports starts right here. We are live from the Emirates Arena. First up, we have Sirens against Lightning. And the match straight after that, Pulse against Thunder. 4 hours of live netball for you. Sirens are excited about this one, an opportunity to showcase what they're made of. They're playing on home soil, the crowd, they'll be right behind them, and it's never easy coming north of the border. The visiting party, Loughborough, their winning run has come to an end. They've lost their last two. Sarah Bayman's side will be determined to get back to winning ways. The Easter weekend sees all 10 teams in action today and tomorrow. 4 games on Sky Sports live for you with through 14 rounds. And the table at the top is as tight as ever. It's been a bit of a roller coaster over the last few weeks with some surprise results. One thing is for sure, nothing is guaranteed. Let's bring you right up to date with round 14, and we go back to Friday the 12th of April, and it was Team Bath against Loughborough Lightning. It was 53 apiece with 5 minutes to go, and Bath victorious in that one, a massive game for Team Bath. Going on to Saturday, and it was a physical game. Dragons beating Strathclyde Sirens by 10 goals. Sirens obviously wanting to bounce back from that. Thunder 7 Stars, that was a surprise result of the weekend. Stars have won their last 3 now, a disappointing game, Karen Gregg said, of course, for the top of the table, Thunder. Surrey Storm, a massive game for Siggy Berger. She put on a big performance, beating London Pulse by 3 goals. Then on Monday, another victory for Wasps against Mavs. And so the table looks like this. Thunder and Wasps right at the top, separated by only goal difference. To clarify what goal difference is, the amount of goals you've scored take away the amount of goals you've conceded. And between Thunder and Wasps, the difference is 2 goals. Team Bath in 3rd, Loughborough Lightning wanting to move slightly further up. Of course, 6 points available over this weekend period, and only 9 points separate the top 5 in the table. Sirens wanting to put more points on the board and creep towards that top half of the table. It's all very tight. And with me, Tracy Neville and Tamsin Greenway. Tracy, we've just got to talk about that Manchester Thunder match at the weekend. They were beaten by Stars. Have you spoken to Karen Gregg? Has she recovered yet?
I actually spoken to Sam Bird, actually. I was in the camp the week before that actual particular game, and one of the strengths that Stars have in the game is they start really well against Manchester Thunder, but in that 3rd quarter seems to be the nemesis where Thunder take over. And, you know, they went out that game, and I said, if you challenge the scoreboard, you know, you've got a fight on your hands because you always start well. And obviously Sam Cook probably had the game of her life. You know, she really shook up the shooters. They stopped the opportunities, and obviously Ward out in front of Sam as well. They were doing so much work in respect to, you know, just mistiming the space of the actual game, and Thunder really struggled to get the ball into the circle, which is probably one of their strengths.
Well, we are seeing surprise results. I mean, Pulse beat Mavs, we've seen Storm beat Loughborough Lightning, and then the Stars beating Thunder. Why are we seeing so many surprises at the moment?
I think it was really interesting. In the off-season, we saw 38 transfers across the board, so the teams have started to even out. And so this time last year, as a coach, you could be looking at the semi-finals going, oh, we know who we're going to play, we're going to try some things out. There is no team going into this weekend challenging for those top 4 spaces going, oh, we've got an easy one. We'll just coast through this one. I think matchups are becoming really important. So you look at Loughborough Lightning and how short their defensive end is. So when they're playing against taller shooters, they're struggling. They struggled against Siggy Berger. They were having to win ball early. So matchups, I think coaches are really, really being tested at this point, because tactically you're having to work out every single team. There's no game where you can almost just go and work on yourselves. So I think it's been a really intriguing season. It's making us look ridiculous, because every time I call a result, it goes the other way. But it's the best season ever, and it actually shows, and this is great for England, how close the talent pool is becoming.
Would you agree with that,
And I think there's a lot of familiarity as well, because a lot of the players are away in international season, so they probably don't have the pre-season that they would actually wish. International players don't come in until January and February, so I think by the end of the season it's always telling. I like the second part of the season, because not as a coach but as a spectator, because it really throws some up. Teams are starting to form their starting sevens, the players that are excelling in the players, and the matchups, as Tamsin just said, in that as well. So for me, it's really exciting, and it's really challenging our players building into that World Cup.
Absolutely. It is really tough for coaches going into the finals, because Tamsin, as we spoke about before the show, as former director of netball at Wasps, you were planning at this stage for the finals, and you were able to put out teams thinking, oh, I don't need to tactically prepare for this side.
You're almost working on your game. So 4 games out, you'd be going, who am I going to get in semi-finals? What's it kind of look like? You could work out who teams were going to beat, to know whom you were going to play. And I've looked at games in the past where I've gone in starting a different lineup just to see what they can do, knowing that it won't matter the result at the end of the game. You know, you look at Wasps this weekend, they've probably got the easiest out of the top 5 going into the last 4 games. They've got Storm and Dragons this weekend. Like, that is no easy feat, and you don't want to slip up, because that can bump you from literally second first down to 4th. It's a crazy, crazy end, and to be a spectator, amazing. To be a coach, oh gosh, I wouldn't want to be in that position.
Oh, well, let's just remind you of what's happening this weekend. Rounds 15 and 16, so every team play twice. The 2 games live on Sky Sports, of course, Sirens Lightning, Pulse Thunder. And Tamsin, you're looking out at that game, aren't you? Wasps against Surrey Storm, because Wasps have got to be on their guard, and it's Stars, Bath, Mavericks, Dragons. And moving on to tomorrow, we head down to the Rico Arena, and on Sky Sports it's Storm, Stars and Bath Mavericks, and a big game as well. We'll bring you right up to date with all those other games, but the big one as well is Lightning Thunder. But don't worry, Sky Sports are abreast of all of them. Now, it's been a year since Commonwealth Games victory. Tracy's still recovering. It's been absolutely fantastic. There's been a surge in people taking up netball. I think the figures are, I think it's about 130,000 people have taken up netball since last year, which is brilliant. And we've been having lots of tweets about the Commonwealth Games. And here's the first one from Helen Wynne, who's part of England Netball. A year on, and how we're still feeling the impact of that golden day. Here's some more golden moments in July, and even more taking to the court this year. The World Cup's going to be massive in July in Liverpool. How Tracy, do we capitalise on that and make the most of it?
I think for us, it was one, the surge in spectators. I think we wanted an environment where we were fully supported by England fans. I've been in so many arenas through the years where it's just full of yellow and gold and black and silver, and that in itself is quite an intimidating environment. You think when you come to England, the only thing we should be seeing is a sea of red. So to get them fans, the other thing we want is the external support around the venue, people making our jobs easier. So we move very swiftly, and we've been practicing that over the last few internationals about how we move to venues, being comfortable in the environments that we're in, practicing staying in hotels, and that's so important for a squad to get familiar with the surroundings. Yeah. Coffee shops we can go to, you know, hotel staff know exactly what we want to eat. And you know, you don't get to practice that a lot at international level due to the funding. So, you know, for us, you know, we've been rehearsing.
Great. So you've been to Liverpool.
And hopefully we can put on the active and the performance of our lives.
It reminds me of Sir Clive Woodward in 2003, preparing for the World Cup in Sydney and going and staying in the hotels and looking at all the restaurants, exactly what you're doing right now, because that prep is absolutely key. We've had, you've seen a lot of tweets on the board there, on the screen, excuse me, on the board. One was from Helen Housby. She said a year on and she's still very close to Nat Haythornthwaite. And here is to,
I think they're in the next bedroom, I think.
Are they? They're next to each other. But netball in this country over the last couple of years, Tamsin, how much has it grown and how much potential does it have?
Yeah, huge growth. And we're not just talking about participation, we're talking about people talking about the game now and recognising the elite level more. And I think that's one of the big things. We've always had numbers playing the sport in this country. That for me has never been the problem. It's the recognition of what's going on at the top level. And I think we've got that at England now. For me, the contingency after World Cup will not only be for the England Roses, but also for this Super League as well. You know, so we start playing packed out arenas at the Super League, and that's helping the players. Like we've talked about that consistency and the talent pool lifting. I think that has inspired these club players that are coming through, the Super League players. So I think that's that next step as well.
Okay, we've got to dash to Hannah Wilkes because she's with the Loughborough Lightning head coach, Sarah Bayman. Let's get to you, Hannah.
Well, Sarah, back-to-back losses for Loughborough coming into this weekend. With the race for the top four so tight, just how vital is a win against Sirens today?
Yeah, I think it's massive today. We need to get some momentum back. We need to get back to winning ways, and so we'll look to do that and try and hit Sirens hard early on.
We've seen quite a lot of inconsistency from the Loughborough Lightning side this season. How frustrating has that been for you as a coach?
It is frustrating. I think it kind of comes part and parcel with having a new squad and new players coming in, but I think we've seen it from a lot of teams as well, and I think it's partly a sign of how competitive it's been this year. So yeah, it is frustrating. A few grey hairs coming, but hopefully we'll get back on a roll from today forwards.
And what are the keys for you in this game against Sirens this afternoon?
Sirens have got a tall target shooter in terms of Barry, and we need to make sure we win ball early to prevent ball going in there. And I think on attack, we just need to be more confident. We've got all the elements there. It's just about putting them together, and I think confidence is a big part of that for us.
Thanks very much. Good luck.
Great to hear from Sarah. Something got incredibly loud in this arena, which we're used to in these netball arenas. Loughborough Lightning, they've lost their last two. What have you seen from the team so far this season, and especially the last couple of games?
If we think about how Loughborough started at the start of the season, they didn't really have a set seven. They were really working on their centre court and their shooting circle, obviously. They've sort of cemented that Cholcott, Clark and Joseph combination at the front, but they're still unsure, obviously, with Everett or Panagari back, and obviously Shaw in the middle. So I think that has been quite telling over the last few weeks. Do we go defensive in this game or do attacking? And obviously today they're looking more on the defensive game, putting Panagari in the front with Everett on the back with the big lean, trying to challenge that ball early, as Bayman said. So I think it's just about finding your team. So although they've lost over the last two games, they haven't lost, they've lost the top of the table team. So I don't think that's disappointing for them, because if you're going to lose, let's do it early and not in the major finals building into that. So I think it's a real positive, and I think for her today this will be a real test.
Okay, let's get back to Hannah. She's with Gail Parata.
Gail, Gia Abernethy said this week that both your matches this weekend are winnable. What's the confidence level like amongst the Sirens team?
It definitely is. I mean, we've got to go into every match believing that we can take any team on, and we've been doing that for about 3 and a bit quarters, so we need to close out matches really, really well, and if we do that, we're in for a chance.
We've seen Loughborough lose their last couple of games, so we know they're beatable. What's your game plan this afternoon?
Well, we've just got to keep focused on ourselves, doing basic fundamentals, but ultimately we've got to put the ball through the hoop, because that's been a challenge for us in the last couple of matches. We're getting the ball to our circle safely, so if we do that again today and the ball goes through the hoop, I think that we will be at the end of the game in a good position.
So the pressure is very much on your shooters then. Any other areas of the court that you're concerned about going into this match?
No, I don't think there's any areas we're concerned about. It's just about being together as a full team, believing that we can take on this team today. I mean, even though they have lost 2 matches, it doesn't matter. They're a very good side. They've got quality players, and we know we have to take it to them and not wait for them to bring the game to us.
Best of luck.
What kind of game plan do they need today?
Well, I think you just heard her talk about her shooters. Interestingly, they've started with Emma Barry. I was really impressed with her, how she came in against Thunder. She's tall. She's about 6'2", 6'3". That needs to expose Loughborough Lightning's defensive end, where we know they struggle. Keenan doesn't match up well against the tall shooters. Loughborough have to win ball early. Sirens have to sort out their shooting circle. That's simple. Whoever does that will come out on top.
Okay, well, Pulse haven't won since Sirens haven't won since round 6 against London Pulse. They'll be wanting to put on a performance for the home crowd today. Tracy Neville's off to commentary to join Catherine Merry. Let's get to Kath right now.
Thank you very much indeed, Di. Happy Easter. Hope you're settling in with your Easter eggs for our Easter netball bonanza. Sirens versus Lightning then, first up for us, both teams on the back of losses. The round 14 last match for Loughborough Lightning, a 2-goal defeat to Team Bath. The last match for Sirens was a loss to Dragons. Sirens on their home court here then in the Emirates Arena, looking to get the 3rd win of the Super League season. Their 3rd season in the Super League.
Instruction goalkeeper, advantage goal. Left back.
That's the crowd pleaser, the first goal on the board. If you're new to us on Sky Netball, welcome. 4 quarters of 15 minutes. Loughborough Lightning on the attack in the centre position there. Nat Panagari, we'll be talking a lot about her in the next hour. Captain of Loughborough Lightning. And there's Claire Maxwell, the captain of Sirens, one of the most experienced players in the Super League. And of course involved with the Scottish Thistles.
Contact keeper.
And the first mention of the afternoon for Mary Cholhock, the 6'7" shooter for Loughborough Lightning, has stepped in wonderfully well into the shoes of Peace Prascovia. Prascovia now playing down under with the Sunshine Coast Lightning.
Yes.
This to draw Lightning level. And one apiece. So Sirens will always get good support here. But as Sarah Bayman said to Hannah Wilkes, we need to get some momentum back. We need to hit them hard early on. Tracy Neville has made her way up. And just as you arrive, Tracy, goal number 3 of the match pops in. 2-1 Sirens.
Yeah, and that's the lead that they'll probably be looking for. Practice side, she said they've had a little bit of inconsistency, and you know, and the shooting circle has been a problem. So to get Barry confidence early is really vitally important for them.
So in a heartbeat from one end to the other. Ripple of applause for Cholhock as she evens it up.
I think what you want to see from Sirens today is a little bit more possession game, play maybe the shorter game, get really confident each other's ball handling. I think that's always been a Scottish trait, you know, the way they can possess and then just get that ball slowly to the shooter, and I think they're doing that quite nicely in this first 5 minutes of the game.
Well, a blast of music, as you'll probably hear at home or on YouTube if you're with us on that channel. Every time a goal goes in, the home side have that 1-goal advantage then.
Yeah, and you saw then Emily Nicol, and you can see what Sirens are trying to do here now. They're trying to really put pressures on them feeders, keep them away from the circle, and prevent that Clark on that ball, feeding that ball in, because Panagari and Joseph like that security of the circle edge. So to do that, that's when they can start really challenging that ball.
Well, a rare ball that was even too high for Cholhock. Ella Clark, beautiful shooting style, top-class basketball player as well. Still unorthodox, but gets the job done, Tracy.
It's the critical shots that you talked to Clark about, you know. You've got Cholhock under there, they'd shut her down, but then Clark puts it in from the edge of the circle, and that for the team is a huge confidence.
Well, that is what Strathclyde Sirens have to defend against over the next hour here at the Emirates Arena, the shooting power of Clark and Cholhock. Little step forward. A roll around, the first miss of the game.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want that from under the post from, you know, an asset like Cholhock. But, you know, from the last game, I think the teams that have done well against Loughborough are those who have really worked well in that goalkeeper goal defence, you know, really putting certainty in the angles that she's providing, so the feeders are then a little bit hesitant, and that's how Sirens have just won that ball back.
So Sirens on the edge of the shooting circle, nice little bounce pass. Abernethy in the centre position for Sirens.
Contact centre penalty.
You look at the attitude of how Loughborough have come into this game as well, and I think, you know, you come off 2 losses, irrespective of who you're playing today. It's always that nervousness of wanting to get this win today before you go into Manchester Thunder tomorrow, who's a must-win game for them to get into the finals. And, you know, I think a little bit this is where they've started, where Loughborough like to flow that ball forward. at the moment they're going a lot lateral to make sure they've got really secure on their possession. And sometimes that can come from a little bit of fragility in the camp where, you know, they just want to get that confidence back.
Well, another one rattles in for Ella Clark. 2 from 2, 100% shooting at the moment, as is Emma Barry for the Sirens. So mid-court, Panagari, bullet pass out to Joseph, looking to go across the whole width of the court here at the Emirates Arena. Sola, she's had a great year for Loughborough Lightning, but what an interception.
I know, and you can see what, obviously Sirens have done the homework there. They're setting the goal defence and goalkeeper back in that circle, really challenging that, and Maxwell, obviously, her strength, really roding that wing attack to actually go on. If you're going to feed her from outside, but we've put 2 defenders back in there, and they're trying to isolate that goal attack, which is a real strength, and Bath did that so well when they took that victory last week.
Lindsay Gallagher pops one in for the home side, 4 goals apiece. The lady's still got her sunglasses on there in the front row, enjoying the sunshine. The bright lights of the Emirates Arena as well, and she'll be enjoying the 4-all scoreline with just over 10 minutes remaining of this first quarter.
And a bounce pass to a 6'4" shooter is not uncharacteristic, but she was on the end of it, and it was definitely the ball to use.
So Barry puts the home side ahead. 2 wins this season in round 1 against Storm and in round 6 against Pulse. But they've had some close matches, the Strathclyde Sirens this year, and they've started this one well. Maxwell looking for space. Patient from Sirens.
And look what Sirens are doing. They're providing ball side positioning. So although Loughborough are trying to force them up the court, they're cutting and driving. And it's like the triangle ball, you know, there's always something there. Got driving, then punishing it through to the other corner, and it's working really well.
Distraction, goalkeeper, your arms are out.
And I think Tamsin, you know, highlighted it. You know, Keenan doesn't like them tall shooters, so for Parata to go on and choose Barry today as one of her strongest shooters instead of the usual Goodwin, you know, is obviously a real good tactical decision by her.
So straight off their centre pass, just a couple of passes. The minimum amount required is always welcomed by the coaches, and under the post once again. Barry popping another one in. She's going to get confidence from this Tracy Neville early ball.
Oh, definitely. And Arasola there is just happy to sit on the back of Barry, which is, you know, Barry's propping and holding. And, you know, you talk about, you know, she's got 4 from 4, and you're like, no, you've got to be changing it, hesitant, you know, create hesitancy in that field. What Mulhern's doing actually with Cholcock at that back. Every time she takes the ball, she's being nudged. Every time she's taking another step, and that's the uncertainty that you want to provide.
Contacting defence goal third.
So Lightning pull one back. 2-goal lead then for Sirens. On the attack again, keeps it in court, does Abernethy.
And Barry's doing a good job of just slipping round at the last minute to get that ball, and let's see if she can put this one away, and she does. What a great shot from Barry. You know, 6-foot shooters shooting from halfway out is a huge strength.
So Joseph for Lightning, looking for space, Clark.
Yeah, you know, Panagari then looking for that contact there, but for me, she was sat in that position maybe just a tad too long, and then Clark was then unsure with the contesting that was happening where to place that ball.
Well, as I mentioned, Bayman talked about hitting them hard early on, but it's Sirens at the moment who are enjoying the home court in this Easter weekend.
And what was exceptional about Loughborough's defence there, and I think Everett should have actually, she was happy to knock that ball out, and that's probably a little bit of inexperience from her. You know, they were forcing them up, but they were challenging them lateral balls, and, you know, them are the ones that they actually want to challenge and want to win, because, you know, if you try and take them away from the triangle, get them playing more horizontally in parallel, that means then there's ball there that they can actually win, because they've got absolutely nothing being provided in that forward option.
Little jump at the end of the shot from Lindsay Gallagher. Twice represented Scotland at the Commonwealth Games. I remember her first cap when she was about 17, I think, Gallagher, but she's popping another one in for the home side. It's now a 4-goal advantage for Sirens. They're the ones that have come out flying in this first quarter.
And Parata must be so happy with this start because, you know, they've done what they wanted her to do. They wanted to play really consistently. They wanted a possession game. They wanted to keep recycling the ball. And that is so frustrating for someone like Orisola who, you know, wants to come and take them instinctive intercepts through the goal third and through that centre third. And at the moment, Loughborough are getting really frustrated, which I think is having a little bit of an effect on their attacking game.
So Loughborough looking to pull one back. Sirens have double the lead on them at the moment.
And I think you think about the best feeder in Clark and you think, actually, let's get ball to her early. How can we provide ball to her early? And that's probably sitting her in a higher position, running down and then 45-degree angles or popping back up for ball. So what they can do is that goal defence is tempted to actually come and challenge Clark, and then she can just loft it over on that one-on-one. But I think at the moment, you know, that they're willing to sit there and let Clark be isolated, which is then preventing them being able to feed that ball into circle.
A nice little patient bit of focus. And Barry once again, 11 playing 6 then, coming up to 5 minutes remaining of this first quarter. The first match on this big Easter weekend of Super League netball.
And Mulheron, she's like a tiger in that defence. She's like, you know, you're my prey, and I'm going to mark you all the way. If you want to get in the circle, that's going to be hard work.
So Sirens been forced a little bit back into the centre third, but now it's flowing forward. A direct bullet pass into the shooting D, and a roll in once again for Emma Barry.
Do you know what I'd really like to see here, Catherine, is maybe that they start challenging that ball into Barry overhead. You know, she's a young shooter. You know, can she be challenged on that overhead ball? But because of the height of Loughborough's defence, I'm thinking they're happy to take that ball side position and try and run someone in there. And currently, it's not actually working for them.
Well, a reach and a take of the shot mid-court from Ella Clark. Then a reach and a take for the shot from Cholhock. Pulls one back for Loughborough Lightning. Remember, in round 7, they ended their loss-win pattern with back-to-back wins against Storm. We had that live on Sky. Wins at Polson Dragon since.
And that's the example we want. Ella Clark coming up, taking that ball, one-on-one feed. And, you know, that's the strength of Loughborough. How can they utilise that more? Maybe play the, you know, the wing attack and centre in a little bit more of a staggered position. Maybe keep one higher and keep one in that deep position so they actually can utilise that goal attack position more.
Contact.
So a second attempt. And the Ugandan pops one in. Scottish, this is of course at the World Cup that's coming up. They're in Group D with England, Uganda and Samoa. Uganda, of course, with Mary Cholhock, if she's chosen in the squad, along with the likes of Peace Praskovia. But that's in the future in July. And at the moment, it's Sirens now being pulled back to just a 1-goal advantage with coming up to 3 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and obviously Loughborough now have started to find a little bit of form, a little bit of freeness with their ball, starting to create space rather than play that body on body. And don't forget, Catherine, you know, apart from Gia in the middle, you know, this is the side that will be competing against us in that World Cup. So what great preparation for Parata to have her team on a weekly basis.
Yep, Gia Abernethy in that centre position for Sirens. Dale Parata, of course, in charge of the Sirens and the Scottish national side, as Tracy Neville says.
Yeah, and we talked about where Sirens were actually making the difference early on. You know, they were creating that triangle structure to each ball. So, you know, they were willing to go back, drive forward. And, you know, they've been tempted into the Loughborough trap where they're trying to swing that ball across the circle, which is enabling people like Orisola and Everett to be able to come out there and win ball.
So back to 11 apiece. Yes. And the home side having a 5-goal advantage at 1 point. Mary Cholhock rolls one in, and now Lightning have a 1-goal lead coming up to 2 minutes remaining.
You saw the benefit of that, you know, just utilisation, changing their centre pass, going a little bit back, throwing it then into Hannah Joseph in that deep space and playing that one-on-one. And, you know, I think what they need is a little bit probably of talking on that line about who's playing into that deep position. And the way they were struggling was that Joseph and Clark were playing high or they were both playing deep, and they just need to get a little bit, create a little bit more space for each other.
So Sirens now being made to work a little bit more before the ball potentially lands in their shooting zone, but it gets there. Gallagher eyes one up.
Such an underestimated goal attack. You know, you don't normally see short goal attacks who are effective, but she works her trade very, very well. Plays the in and out, waits timing into circle, and I think that's absolutely key when you're playing with a tall shooter.
Obstruction goalkeeper, penalty pass.
So obstruction called. See the Loughborough Lightning bench players in the background.
Oh.
Few squats. Jogging
Great
on the
rebound.
spot.
Great rebound by Cholcock and Clark. Just needed a little bit more lift on that.
And before you know it, in the Super League, Lightning now have a 2-goal advantage. 30 seconds remaining. Sirens started so well in this first 15 minutes. But the 3-time Super League finalists, Loughborough Lightning, have pulled it back in possession.
Oh, that's great. That was a great transition by Sirens. I was actually going to comment there on Barry, the way she had to work a little bit harder to get a ball to force that missed shot. However, the way they got back on defence has really put the pressure on. And that was probably a really important shot by Gallagher, because the way you want to go into your next quarter is to be challenging that scoreboard.
Well, it was. Loughborough going to throw this one in. And the whistle's going to go shortly. A miss by Sirens to pull it back to 1 behind Loughborough Lightning. But the whistle does go. It's the end of the first quarter here at the Emirates Arena. The Sirens started fast, but Sarah Bayman and her squad are starting to find their stride here in Glasgow. Strathclyde Sirens 12, Loughborough Lightning 14. The second quarter coming up after the break.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
Ah, lifting a leg. My speciality.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
Go for the ankles.
Welcome back to the Emirates Arena. Loughborough Lightning have a 2-goal lead over Strathclyde Sirens. Tracy Neville, England head coach, alongside me. Talk me through a couple of these stats, Tracy.
I think what really pleases me from a coach's perspective is the number of shots and the percentages that are being put there. Although they look pretty even, it's them 1%ers of who can get the most shots in, and that is a real challenging game. And then obviously Loughborough, what they started to do towards the end of that game is start to turn that ball over, and we know that Orisola, Everett and Keenan in there, that's where they want ball in hands to give them that confidence.
Yeah. So ball in hand to get that confidence, and it is Loughborough Lightning. Oh, Sola, just as you say that, Tracy, throws one over the head of Panagari.
Yeah, and we look at the way Parata coaches where she's from, New Zealand, and what they were trying to do then, they had like a bit of a diamond defence on, keep them outside the diamond, protect your middle, and you know, they were forced then to throw the ball Orisola to Panagari, who was in a non-ball side position, going in a wide, near the sideline, and they need to do a lot more of that, because obviously you want to get into the house, get into that middle to really change the structure of that defence, and have they got the capacity to to switch, and have they got the understanding to do that?
So Sirens pull one back. So you do notice that with your coaching eye. Obviously, Gail Parata, New Zealand-born, the assistant Silver Fern coach. You notice her bringing that flavour into the Siren side sometimes?
You do, and you look at the history of the Ferns and the way they used to play a lot of off-marking, and, the game is changing now, and, you need an element of one-on-one. You cannot do that the whole 60 minutes, and I think this has been a real good chance for her, because if I think about Scotland in the past, they were one-on-one, grit performances out, but actually now she's brought a little bit of a different classness to the team, where they can actually change between the two, and now it's just a case of the skill level to be able to beat opposition, and I think that is something new and inventive to bring into the game for them.
Oh, she said in the past, working hard, dreaming big and never giving up. That's what Gail Parata said over the last couple of years, and that's what she'll be hoping her side can display today. 2 goals down then in this second quarter. Remember, Loughborough Lightning had a 2-goal lead after the first 15 minutes. Maxwell held ball over the 3 seconds.
And I think Loughborough have just done what Sirens did to them, force them out wide, keep them in that real hard vertical and parallel line, so that actually there's nothing actually being provided forward.
Contact, goalkeeper.
I think what I would like to see, Catherine, in this game is, with Loughborough, is working a little bit more on that centre pass defence. I think they can actually do a little bit earlier work on Sirens, and although the first ball's getting out relatively easy, if you look now, their structure, they're trying to force that ball keep going back. So they've obviously, Sarah Bayman and Olivia Murphy have gone in there and said, look, we've got to do more in that second phase, because that ball was being able to go forward quite easily.
So Keenan on the back line for Loughborough Lightning. Oyesola not managing to keep that one in, gives her left hand a bit of a shake. 13 playing 16, 12 minutes, 16 remaining. Ignore the OT in the clock. Not gone to overtime yet, we're just into the second quarter. We don't control the clock, but we've got 12 minutes remaining until half-time.
Yeah, I think what Loughborough could do a little bit of improving through that is about that transition, so we saw then Keenan had the ball, but she had 3 people coming at her. And that is not in any way creating structure or certainty into being able to deliver that first-time ball. So, they're bringing Panagari quite up early, because Everett and Orisola just need to do probably a little bit more driving, cutting across that diagonal line to get that ball and drive that ball strong, because that is some of their strengths in that back line. Oh. That was unlucky for Keenan, who flew out for that intercept, but put it back into the Sirens' possession.
Twaini Keenan in the goalkeeper position for Loughborough Lightning. Her mum coming up later, head coach, of course, at London Pulse.
And that was an example of what I was saying, Catherine. You had an easy ball through to Everett, but then absolutely nothing driving at you. All you had is a straight line option, and I think that's where they need to probably be a little bit more creative, have a little bit more setup, and maybe not just give it to the first-time deliverer, give it to the person who's actually being marked, so we can actually create some free space going over that transitional line.
So centre third of the court for Loughborough Lightning.
Standards obstruction goal
Sola being forced back. A little bit of a me to you to me. Panigari looking for space.
And what a great D there from Sirens. You know, they're having to play around the house. There's nobody actually getting into that middle or promoting it. And I think Clark there potentially could have made a lead up and then took off that diagonal just to take that ball off Panigari. Again, changing that structure of that defence. So they're having to work and rework. And propping on body is not going to get through this game because Sirens, they'll just keep propping on you all day until they force that mistake.
Don't stamp on the landing. Okay.
So nice and busy here at the Emirates Arena, and I can see you in the centre of my shot. Hannah Wilkes, you are courtside with Gail Parata.
I certainly am. It's a very busy Sirens bench as well. Gail, you started this game really strongly, still really in it, taking the game very much to Loughborough.
Yeah, we are. I'm getting annoyed with some of our through-court play and not being available, but yeah, I am pleased with how we've started and how our young shooters going in there.
Well, Emma Barry is really impressing us all so far this afternoon. She's very strong down that attacking end, but your defence is also causing problems for Loughborough as well.
Yeah, we're trying to play off and on defence so we can contain the really good shooter down there and stop options. But yeah, happy with what we're doing on defence, but I think we can still get some more ball. Yeah.
And how can you go about getting that ball and winning that ball? Is it more in the centre of the court?
There's a lot of loose ball on the court, which Loughborough seem to be getting on the end of, so we want to pick up little things like that. But just if we're working together, getting hands over, being really disciplined on our defence, then I think that, you know, that's the way that we might be able to do that.
Well, we're certainly enjoying watching it. Thanks, Gail.
Well, super stuff. Gail Parata saying she was happy with the way that her team started, but then, of course, has the bits that this is what I need to do better. This is what they need to do better to get back into this.
I think the way I took from that is they're playing that off and on defence, and we're talking about playing on that goal attack or off that goal attack into the circle, and I think that worked really well from in that first quarter. She has saying, and I agree with her, you know, there's a lot of loose ball out there that they could potentially win, so it's now managing their bodies to be able to go on the body and then challenge ball off. And you know, Sirens are probably not renowned for them interception, coming out like the Arasola and the Keenan style. However, they're getting there and they're starting to see ball. So you like to say as the game progresses, they start to see more areas where they can actually go and take that loose ball.
So they've doubled their lead from the first quarter. It's now a 4-goal lead for Loughborough Lightning. A reminder, in round 4 when they played, Loughborough Lightning won this match 60 goals to 49. But Sirens on the attack. Sola, she raises her eyes to the sky. It goes back into the hands of Sirens. Still pushing, still attacking. Keenan.
And we saw how that was created, Catherine, an attacking contact, and Team White are really on these attacking contacts. I think I watched one game 4 weeks ago and there was something like 14 attacking contacts in one quarter, and you know, you can't push through defenders now, and they're not liking the way you do that, and if you keep persisting to do it, they'll start warning you. And obviously, likewise, we had a player sent off the other week by persisting to do stuff like that.
Team White, I like that. I never heard that. So Sirens have got a 3-goal deficit that they're looking to claw back here.
Yeah, and we look at where they could have probably made a little bit more ground. You know, it's that give and go. You know, we see it a lot at international level. You know, it's not just about giving there and then going into happy place. It's about going there and really taking on them, that defender, or taking on that space, or challenging something that a defender you could draw a defender to then get that ball in.
Contact centre arm. Yes.
Abernethy stands by. Joseph into the hands of Ella Clark. And another one in. Only missed one all afternoon so far as Ella Clark. Her 3rd season at Loughborough Lightning.
It'd be interesting to see how Thunder and Pulse are watching this game now, and what they're actually taking from it, because there's been some really good strengths of both teams and about the way they're persisting at the moment. And I'm sure they'll probably be saying here, we want this game to be close. We're not bothered really about the winner. However, we want it to be close so we can keep them 7 players on, let run them ragged, so they come into the game tomorrow a little bit fatigued. And I think that's what the mentality will be thinking today.
And Karen Gregg walked behind us. high five with your relationship, of course. So she will be watching, as you say, Tracy Neville, because that's who Lightning play tomorrow. And at the moment, they'll be seeing that Lightning have a slim 3-goal advantage as we have 6 minutes before half-time. No changes made yet by either Gail Perata or Sarah Bayman. We'll see what happens at half-time when the conversations are had. Gallagher, though, passes it off. Another one for Emma Barry.
Contact wing defence, moved into her space.
And I think Joseph did a great there. You know, she'd just been pulled for an attacking contact. She said, go on, Clark, go and take the line, give me the space. And what they've done is they've attracted that Sirens defence to Clark, created the contact, and then able to get easy ball in. So that was a great change by the line and how it should be done, not just persisting with something that actually, you know, the team white are not comfortable with, and the team are not able to get that ball to goal.
Well, and Emma Barry wasn't happy with that decision either. A few little boos around the Emirates Arena, the teenager.
I don't think Panagari was as well, because I think that was the first transition that they've been able to get full flow and full ball out from that defensive end.
So it looks like a change in the wing attack position for Sirens. Looks like McCleary, maybe change for Boyle. We'll bring you confirmation of that. So coming up to 5 minutes remaining until half-time, 18 playing 21.
And there's also a change there for Loughborough Lightning as well. They've obviously moved Nat Panagari back into that wing defence and gone back to what we would say is probably their usual starting 7, with obviously Jess Shaw in that middle. They're obviously a little bit worried about how they're bringing that ball through, which we commented on earlier, and how much ball they're actually being taken off them in that position.
So a couple of changes made then before half-time.
That's a caution. It's inside.
First caution handed out.
Yeah, and I think there'll be a lot more handed out this weekend, particularly tomorrow. You know, we're at the stage of the season now where all points matter, and even for someone like Sirens, its position in the table matters to them as well.
Little high five. Little and her teammates, but Ella Clark then on the back line, a 4-goal advantage. Little high one over. So the tallest player on the court. And Mary Cholhock puts another one back in. She's been working a lot with the rugby coach at Loughborough Lightning, as Mary Cholhock, to increase her awareness and her jumping skills. She really has settled in wonderfully well. Testament to the player relationship skills that Sarah Bayman and her coaching squad have.
And I think it's the people that they actually put around them as well. You know, the communities that they actually live in, and the support that they can give them externally. We talk a lot about players being happy in training, and a lot of that is to do with the personal circumstances at home. Because, you know, if that's not consistent, or they're not in a comfortable space, then likelihood is they're not able to put out that performance that they wanted.
Happy off the court, happy on it. Or as my coach used to say, happy off the track, happy on it. It's always a winner when your off-court life is in a good place. So a confirmation then of some of those changes that have been made, but just over 3 minutes remaining until half-time. 5 goals the difference. Loughborough Lightning looking to get back to winning ways after 2 defeats, but Sirens are not having any of it here in their own backyard.
Yeah, we know how Sirens play. They run on first-time ball, and you know, there's probably a lot more work to be done with the ball before release. So take the speed, but change the timing of the feed here, you know, because that's how they lost that ball then. I think Joseph should have just waited for Mulherron to get around Cholhock and then place it into space and just take a bit of pace off that.
For our new viewers, Tracy, potentially on Sky, the run off first-time ball.
Contact, wing defence.
Yeah, I think, you know, what you tend to do with inexperienced players is when they're running at pace, they take the ball and then deliver it at the same pace. So what you need to do is have that, you know, you talk about world-class players, that they're able not only to change the timing of their movement, they're able to run at pace and then take it you know, at Toy's pace into space. So it's changing the timing, because actually if you consistently keep going at the same timing, defenders get on that, which means then you're more likely to throw the ball away or it's going to be challenged. So constantly keep thinking, or just fake and then move the ball somewhere in different directions. And we talk about marking people technically in world class, and then what world class players can actually do with their ball.
And in good form and good class today is Emma Barry in that goal shooting position. Pulls another one back for the home side. The Thunderclappers, you can see them in shot. If you haven't got them, that must be quite annoying if you're sitting in front of somebody with them. But the fans are enjoying clapping them.
And Joseph just did what I asked then in that defence. She faked it, went to the goal attack, but then actually put it into Cholcock. And, you know, it was an easy ball in, and I think that is where these feeders need to start moving if they want to get easy ball into that circle.
So back line for Sirens.
Barry's probably having the best game that I've seen her play this season. She looks really confident in there, and I think Parata has really mollycoddled her in you know, exposing her at different times during that international phase, and obviously during that during the club season. And you know, the confidence that she's had at such a youth level, building into a world youth comp in 2 years' time, is a vital asset for a player like this.
Good system here for the Sirens in Scotland. Scotland's biggest women's sports team, Strathclyde Sirens. And the likes of Emma Barry are coming through that system nicely.
I'll be interested to see if she gets a caution for that, Catherine. I do think it's the first time she's done it, but
no, Keenan looks everywhere, but not at Team White. And the game continues.
there isn't one team at the moment that is, you know, you're confident to say they're going to keep taking this game ahead. They've sort of stepped on the gas and, you know, are surging forward. At the moment, they're just churning goals out, and it'll be interesting to see which one has that fifth gear to get into to be able to really ensure that win.
Well, churning goals out indeed, says Tracy Neville, and it's Loughborough Lightning that have a 5-goal advantage, 22 for Sirens, 27 for Loughborough Lightning. And the half-time whistle goes, and Hannah Wilkes, you're on court.
I certainly am. I'm alongside Claire Maxwell. Claire, a 5-goal lead in the first quarter, a 5-goal deficit going into half-time. What can you take from that first couple of quarters?
I think we're actually pretty pleased with where we're at, but there's a lot of loose ball kicking about, so we want to tidy up on that, just making sure we've got options through court. We've had a few held balls, which we don't like to have, so more options and a little bit more width and depth in our attack.
You have forced Loughborough into making some changes in their sort of wing defence, centre, goal defence chain. That's got to be a suggestion that what you're doing is working and making life really difficult for them. When you look at where they are in the table compared to you guys, that must fill you with a bit of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, we believe we're quite a good match-up for Loughborough. We've had some good games over this season so far, but we're pleased we've made them into changes, but we knew that was probably going to come at some point anyway, so we just need to stick to our own game plan.
Thanks very much. Good luck for the second half. If we just bring in Nat Panagari. Now, that's an intense couple of quarters of netball you've just played.
Yeah, it is. You know it's going to be very physical when you play against Sirens, and every game is now. So we've just kind of got to take those hits and keep the control as well.
Of course, you need to get the win here this afternoon. Is there one eye yet on the Manchester Thunder game and looking at how you manage the team going into these latter two quarters with that very important game in mind tomorrow?
No, I think every game is a must-win. You've got to live in the now and the moment, and this is a game that we have to get over before we even think about that.
We saw a few changes in your mid-court as well in the latter stages of that second quarter. Is that going to be paying the dividends you want?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said before, I think we have like different options that we can do in there and kind of make teams think about that. So this switch is just kind of freshen it up a little bit.
Thanks very much. Good luck for the second half.
Thank you.
So Nat Panagari says we need to keep control. Claire Maxwell, we need to stick to our own game plan. But at half-time, Loughborough Lightning leads Strathclyde Sirens 27 goals to 22.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
Oh dear. Won't anyone play with you?
Getting active brings its own rewards.
I thought you weren't allowed to walk with the ball.
The home side got off to a flying start here at the Emirates Arena. Sirens were up by 5 in the first quarter. It's certainly been a physical game so far. Sarah Bayman was cheering her side on, of course, and at the moment, Lightning, the visiting side, are leading. It's 27-22 to Lightning. Tamsin, what do you make of that first half?
It was crazy, wasn't it? Everything we've come to expect this season. So Sirens got a 5-goal lead, started exceptionally well, really exposed the small circle defence that we talked about from Loughborough Lightning. I think we've got some clips to show you of how patient they were and how they really opened up the space. We know that Loughborough like to win the ball early, but look at that cut back from Lindsay Gallagher. Barry playing the front space, Gallagher coming in, and then just this partnership between them. It wasn't always pretty, but it just started to really open up Emma Barry under that space. However, Loughborough did adjust going out into the second quarter, which we'd expect, and it meant that they turned that 5-goal deficit around and they've gone into half-time 5 up. And the Loughborough defence is really impressive because they are just working tirelessly. So Nat Panagari, how much work she does out the front, and Zara Everett with the big arms. Vicky O'Sola closing down that front space now. I've put that in because Keenan goes for it, she misses it, but it's just about messing with the Sirens' heads. Same there, you saw Vicky O'Sola, Zara Everett, Nat Panagari all keeping them up the court, and there O'Sola wants to run on the ball, and it just kind of put them all out of sync. That is where Emma Barry still needs to improve on her game, her core to hold those balls in, because what started to happen in that second quarter, Sirens didn't want to let that long ball into her, and when she did, they had to be so tight on the edge, and it just meant, like poor Lindsay Gallagher was releasing again, and it just meant that they were having to constantly work the ball around, and when you work the ball around, you give teams opportunity to win it, and that's what Loughborough Lightning did well. They haven't had it all their own way, they've had to work really hard to win ball off Sirens, and actually special mention to Mulherron and Nichols down the other end, who are turning over ball for Sirens as well. But Loughborough, the skill, the quality they've got through the team, I think they've started to settle now, and I would expect Sarah Bayman will be giving them a few words, and they'll come out into this third quarter really taking it to Sirens. They need to win it, so.
They do. It's a must-win game for them.
Yes, of course.
As we saw at the top of the show, the top of the table is so incredibly tight. There's 9 points between the top 5 sides. But just turning our attention to the home side Sirens, Claire Maxwell in her interview with Hannah said that they're a good matchve for Loughborough Lightning. What do you make of that statement?
Yeah, I think that is that Mulherron Nichols at the back there, what they're doing. They're really mixing up the space for Chollock. So they've actually got Ella Gibbons on the bench. She was a taller goalkeeper than Mulherron. But what I like about Mulherron is she's aggressive, she moves with her footwork, so she's been constantly on Chollock, constantly grinding her down. They've won them a hell of a lot of ball, and it is exactly what Gail Peretta said at the start of the game. It's what they do with it, and unfortunately they haven't been clinical enough. That is down to just that grit, determination, and just the tenacity of Loughborough Lightning, which is why they're in the position, which is why they're going for the top 5, and which is why I actually think they'll make that Final 4 spot, because there's so many players out there with experience, and you see Nat Panagari, she is on it today. She is just like, we are going to win this game.
Yeah, well, Loughborough Lightning coming off the back of 2 defeats, so they'll be hungry for this one. But the home fans, they want a victory here on home soil. Anything can happen. We don't know what's going to happen in the Super League at the moment. We'll see after the break.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
Lifting a leg. My speciality.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
Go for the ankles.
Welcome back to Glasgow in the Emirates Arena. There is the familiar colour of Loughborough Lightning. High fives and hand claps all around from captain Nat Panagari. Her side has a 5-goal lead over Strathclyde Sirens, 27 playing 22. Tamsin Greenway alongside me now in commentary. We're scanning the court to see if any changes have been made. Wow, Liz can hear the PA here at the Emirates asking the home crowd to get behind the Strathclyde Sirens. They've been ahead in this match. Loughborough Lightning have pulled it back.
And a held ball there from Gallagher. I like what she was looking for. She waited for the change of direction. She got Keenan to come out. It just took too long on that feed into Barry. But they've got to be, they've got to go for those opportunities, you know. We saw in the first half how much ball they were having to play around, and it's tiresome. Bearing in mind they've got to back this performance up tomorrow as well. So really important that they do start letting some longer ball go and trusting Barry into the circle as well and seeing what ball they can give her.
Tomorrow on our Easter Bonanza, the Super League Netball weekend. Sirens, of course, playing Pulse down at the Rico. Pulse playing Thunder later here on Sky.
And look at that, Keenan all the way out on that third line as a goalkeeper. She wants to win ball early. She knows she doesn't want to get it to the edge of the circle. She's such a good hunter, got such good vision. Have a look at her when this ball's being played down. Just see her movement, how quick she is to step on things and recover.
So Clark to Joseph. Will she? Will she?
Yes, she will. Oh, short. But who cares when you've got Chollock 6'7" under the post? You go from anywhere, over your head.
Much of a gap, is there? It's a 10-foot post. You got your tall mate underneath it. A rare miss from Ella Clark, but picked up by Mary Cholhock, and therefore Lightning have still that 5-goal advantage. Got to be patient here, haven't they, Tamsin Sirens? The build-up and taking the opportunities, as you say, when they get them.
Yeah, they have, and you saw that from Gallagher again. She tried to open up the space, but it's just that high ball that they want to put into Barry. You know, Gallagher put it in quite flat. She's worried about that lifted ball, whether she's going to catch it and pull it in. So they went for a flatter ball. Loughborough get the ball again, and then it's been turnover, turnover, turnover. Another held ball created by Loughborough Lightning in just the start of their defence. And yet down the other end, Ella Clark sort of throws her head up in the air. Again, a flatter ball into Chollock. Just lob the ball in, you think. Go high. Aim high, guys. Big shooters in there.
What was the difference? How tall was Peace Praskovia for Loughborough Lightning last year? She wasn't quite as tall, was she, as Mary Cholhock?
No, she was definitely only... She was only about 6'1", 6'2". Yeah. She wasn't the tallest. She was so agile.
So they've replaced tall shooter with a tall shooter, and Mary Cholhock is doing the job for Loughborough Lightning this year. A reminder, it's the top 4 teams after the 18 regular season rounds that we want to take to those semi-finals on the 11th of May, the grand final, that Super League final on the 18th of May at the Copper Box. So all head coaches. Tamsin spoke about it in years gone by when she's won the title twice with Wasps. It's about getting in that top 4, because once you're in it, then you've got a chance to win it. Nothing else matters once you get into the top 4, one game to try and get into the final.
Completely, and that is the aim. Every year you talk about it, we want to be in the top 4, give yourself an opportunity. You worry about who you've got in the semis then, and you know on the day, I've been underdogs in many grand finals and still come out on top, because grand finals are grand finals. That's why they're so special.
Hence a couple of times at Surrey Storm, a couple of times at Wasps. As Tamsin Greenway says, you've got to be in it, and that is what Loughborough Lightning are trying to do. A reminder, they're in 4th place at the moment in the table with 27 points. 4 points ahead of Mavericks, who play later this evening against the Celtic Dragons. Just fighting at the heels of Team Bath as well, but this is all that matters at the moment.
Yeah, and important that they come out on top, and great grind down again from Loughborough, just that pressure out the front, big arms from Ella Clark. Big work rate from Hannah Joseph out the front as well, allowing Zara Everett, Nat Panagari to come through and challenge on that third line, which is what they want to be doing.
Experienced umpiring of Jackie Mison, giving directions. Oh, Claire Maxwell. Oops, here we go.
Hold time, please. Wing defence. Wing defence, Sirens. Wing defence, Sirens. That's a caution for intentional obstruction.
And just coming from the frustration there, Maxwell being told, you know, it was intentional, and she just won the ball. They got a great first phase centre pass, and just the pressure again from Panagari just to come through and have a crack at it. And Sirens really haven't learned their lesson on that. They've had a lot of held balls in this game, a lot of opportunities where they've given Loughborough the chance to run through on them. And you just see that frustration from Maxwell, such an experienced player.
Contact centre.
And the captain of Sirens today, Claire Maxwell.
Hold time.
You just see the same again, that Loughborough defence. They set it up, they ran hard on it. Now Panagari giving her team an opportunity again. It's stuff like that, you know, at this point in the season, you don't want to be seeing your... Yeah, I was going to call it for replay, and then, you know, we had a ball nearly go out of court. They saved it, Zara Everett then dropped it. You know, that's the kind of stuff that Bayman will be tearing her hair out, and actually if they want to be challenging properly in the finals, they've got to tidy that stuff up. You have to reward your intercepts.
Well, they know what the finals are all about, Loughborough Lightning. Back in 2008, they lost by 4 goals to the Mavericks, and of course, we're in the final against Wasps in the last 2 seasons. 5 teams have won the Super League. Loughborough Lightning have yet to win it. Could this be their year? We will see.
And Sirens just using that opportunity.
Contact, wing attack, centre, wing defence, centre third.
It's a contact call there, lucky to get away with that. But Sirens using that opportunity, so we see McCleary coming back into the wing attack position. And Abernethy and Maxwell have now switched over. Probably a smart move by Parata, getting Maxwell out of that wing defence position. Tidying up a little bit. When you are on a caution, the umpires are looking to pull you for more things.
So Maxwell, the centre pass for Sirens. Lots of stops and starts, lots of whistles in this third quarter.
You know, no surprises, the intent Loughborough started this quarter with. They've really come out firing. They've had a real crack at Sirens, especially on that third line. Caused all kinds of issues, and that's why they've got that 8-goal lead.
Oh, wonderful running by Joseph to get the Lightning ball on the edge of the circle.
Contact, goal defence. That's okay.
Gets herself back up as Jolot puts one in. Sorry,
Nichols knew then she got her timing all wrong. But it's hard when you're playing against a taller shooter because you have to challenge, and sometimes if you're just in the wrong position. You hear a few oohs there. I think they thought Keenan had got round there cleanly.
Goalkeeper, it's against you, goalkeeper. Yes?
So Keenan stands by.
And a nice little offload, and when Sirens do get in the circle and they can offload to each other like that, Barry looks really comfortable. It's more about the longer feed, you know, you want to be able to turn at some points and just take some pressure off your team and just lob a ball in. And they're not always being able to do that at the moment. Just like that, Clark knows she can turn, play it to Trollope, and it's an easy goal.
So a little shift in a seat from Sarah Bayman, or the coaching staff in their usual colour-coordinated shirts on the sideline. Bayman watching her side now stretch out to a 9-goal advantage. It was 5 at half-time. Got to keep in this one, Sirens, looking for their 3rd win of the Super League season.
Miss from Clark again, but happy to go to post because we know we've got that rebound position. You can see the bench there, egging them on. They want them to get this lead and really start to punish teams, and that is important. It's part of learning about the game. It's how you push on, never taking your foot off the pedal. And reward them then with a nice quick centre pass.
So Siren centre pass then. Still hearing the voice, Jackie Mizon, Alison Harrison, Brianne Edwards taking charge of this match here, the first match in Glasgow.
And just that pressure again from Lightning. Caused McCleary to go on one foot, nearly got the footwork call, ended up throwing the ball away. They're just really struggling to offload. Again, another problem with having your tall shooter, so you'll notice in this game, Cholot and Barry very much stay in the circle. Because of the taller shooters, they wait for the ball to be brought down. You're going to see it here. Yeah, so Hannah Joseph getting a tip on it and ending up getting the turnover. Because they stay in the circle, the centre court and the goal attack have to do so much work to bring the ball through the court. And you just see now with Sirens, they are really struggling to do that.
Ball back.
Sweat or blood, that'll be.
Conditions, either or.
Sweat or blood, one of those.
Sweat, blood or tears? We'll go with the sweat or the blood to start with.
It's too soon for tears, Kath. We've got a whole weekend.
Another change then for Sirens. Gail Parata, as you say, Townsend, mixing it up here.
Yeah, Ella Gibbons out onto the court, a bit more height in that circle. I actually think Nichols has been fantastic through this game at goal defence, but Sirens unable to turn as much ball over in this quarter. Having said that, Gibbons make an initial impact. She's tall. But they've not been able to turn as much ball over because they've been throwing so much away in attack. It's just given Loughborough the flow that they needed. And that was better play. That was the patience she'd seen for the first 30 minutes. Bill Gallagher releases, opens up Barry. Shorter, sharper ball.
Bandage breaking goal defence.
We have had close matches this season. I alluded to it earlier, that round 11 match, just a 4-goal loss to Team Bath. So Sirens, it's a big arse looking to pull it back against Loughborough Lightning. As we've been saying all Super League, the topsy-turvy season, the unpredictable.
Yes, indeed. You just can't write anybody off at this point, and I think that's why you saw Loughborough's bench so animated a moment ago, because it is important for teams to push on now. You can't be resting on just sort of 5-6 goals going into the last quarter. You really want to be putting teams to bed, and third quarter is a magic quarter to try and do that.
There's been so many Super League games, won all lost in the third quarter, the third 15 minutes. But the crowd like that one as the ball goes back into the possession of Sirens. 10 goals is what they're trying to dent into at the moment. That's the lead that Loughborough Lightning have.
Hold time, please. Goalkeeper, you've been spoken to about your obstruction. That's a caution for persistent obstruction.
Yeah, caution there for Keenan. She's talking about your arms. When you're obstructing, she's giving an arm sort of demo to her about where she doesn't want to see them. And each umpire will have a little niggle that they don't like, they'll talk to you. But it's great because it means the players can see exactly what she's talking about and can adjust and adapt.
So adjusting and adapting, that's what Sirens need to do. But the tip of the fingers of Hannah Joseph. Cholhock out of the circle. Don't see that too often.
No, you don't. And that was almost identical turnover to what we've just been seeing, that pressure on the third line. Loughborough Lightning not being sold on the change of direction by Sirens, and just absolutely no penetration going through into that end third. Here we go, Hannah Joseph getting the tip again, but it's the work that's happened before that to put Sirens under all kinds of pressure.
Advantage goal, obstruction. Goal time, please. Injury, goalkeeper, Sirens.
I think Mulherron in the goalkeeper position for Sirens is potentially struggling. She is indeed. She's got the right shoulder taped up, but she seems to have an issue, so a change, enforced change for Sirens then. Or left hip maybe. Can't be easy, as you say, Tamsin Greenway, marking somebody like Mary Cholhock.
No, get jumping. Get your feet moving and get jumping. And to be honest, I actually think the goalkeepers don't mind. It's a bit of a challenge because you're not expected to get any ball. So anything you do get, you just become a bit of a hero. You should have been a goalkeeper.
Contact, goalkeeper.
I'd have been anything, given half a chance.
Not with that calf, Kath.
No. No track here today, so no chance of me injuring myself again, just for those wondering what the calf reference is about. Trying to turn back time 3 weeks ago here after we came off air. The right calf wasn't playing ball. Joseph, another high one into Cholhock.
And Lightning are so lethal when they just play that ball around and just loft that little ball into Cholhock from the edge of the circle. Defenders don't really have a chance.
It's now an 11-goal advantage then for Loughborough Lightning. Looking to get back on that winning bus after that loss to Team Bath and Surrey Storm.
Yes.
Put them on to 30 points. They'll hit double figures for wins in the season. They'll have 10 from 15.
Fantastic footwork there from Everett. Did a positional switch, so Keenan pulled out onto Lindsay Gallagher, and Everett used her footwork to get around in front on on Barry, and that's kind of where down the other end, you know, you're seeing that high balling to go into Trollope from the edge and landing, and Sirens just haven't had that outlet today. Something for Barry to continue to work on, but great for the future of Sirens and for Scottish netball.
Wing defence, contact throughout the court must change immediately.
Having said that, there's a miscommunication. Jeshoa almost had too much time to look at it. Just a bounce around from Gibbons in front, mixed up that space, but really a poor feed from Shaw.
So nice bit of pace, nice bit of movement from Sirens. Maxwell being forced back into the centre third. Coming up to 90 seconds remaining.
That was a better hold from Barry. She got a body across. She learned a lesson from Zara Everett before, held her timing and stepped onto the ball. And I think you mentioned it there, Kath, the pace Sirens came out with. When they're getting that ball quickly down the court, not allowing Loughborough to set up, they have an opportunity to attack. And here they go again, just like that.
Whole time. Goalkeeper, that's intentional obstruction. That's now a warning.
Oh. Explain, Tamsin Greenway, for our new viewers. How does this system work?
You start with a caution, which she got for her obstruction. We had the very good animated impression by the umpire. That one there was for a deliberate intentional obstruction. She knew she'd been beaten. And so she goes on to the warning now. So has to be careful, because the next thing can be a sending off, and she'll be off the court. For a period of time, she'll be back on then. But look, with the clock ticking down, it's something for the bench to consider next quarter. Do you change her out of that position? But she does have to be careful.
Yes.
So 30 seconds remaining. Ignore the OT on the clock. No overtime. Little glitch in the system of the clock that we're given. 32 playing 41. Coming up to the final few seconds before the last 15 minutes of this first game here in Glasgow this Easter weekend.
That was smart play by Gibbons. She let Trollope step in. Loughborough able to get that quick goal before half-time. They tried to be patient, but still extended their lead.
They have indeed. They've extended their lead to 8. Loughborough Lightning now leading Strathclyde Sirens 41 to 33. Just 1 quarter remaining.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
Oh dear. Won't anyone play with you?
Welcome back to Glasgow, the huddle of Loughborough Lightning. They have an 8-goal lead over Strathclyde Sirens, 41 playing 33. So Lightning are just 15 minutes away from getting back on their winning run, their 10th of the season. And then a quick glance of Gail Parata, the Strathclyde Sirens head coach, who'd have had the words to say to her team, Tamsin Greenway, to try and keep in this and pull it back. But of course, it's a tough ask with the strength of Lightning. But I know we've said it all season, but you never say never.
You don't ever say it. You don't indeed. I think I've been really impressed with Sirens, and if you actually look at the quarter score breakdowns, 14-12, 13-10, 14-11, both sides have been pretty consistent with what they're scoring. And they haven't ever dropped off. They had not, a chance in that third quarter for Loughborough to really take it away. But they didn't. They kept fighting back. They won them enough ball, and they started to finish it off. They just go through patches, which is expected with a team sitting down at the bottom of the table.
So a reminder of our Easter weekend Super League Netball Bonanza coming up also. Pulse and Thunder later. Pulse playing Sirens tomorrow at Coventry. There's a breakdown of the points, as Tamsin Greenway mentioned. The Sirens pop one in. Claire Maxwell, Nee Brownie picks up the ball for the home side.
And you see some changes in that Loughborough Lightning defensive circle. Vicky O'Sola's come back on to goalkeeper. Keenan's gone to the bench. So whether that warning caution was something to do with that decision, or whether they're resting players. Loughborough have got a big game tomorrow, and although they're saying they've got, they want to see this game out, they'll still be thinking a little bit about tomorrow. You don't want to pick up any niggles. You want to make sure people are fresh.
And again, for any new fans that are with us, in the lead up to the World Cup, 12th to the 21st of July, every game live on Sky for that World Cup in Liverpool. They're not carried over, Tamsin. If you get a caution, if you get a warning, it's just for the game that they're playing.
Yes, it is indeed. And often, even though the umpires will talk about it at quarter time and stuff as well, it's umpires see different things. So even if you go from one end to another, you might not be getting called for the same sort of things down at the other end, so you can play it a little bit like that, but it is a risk. You don't want going into this last quarter only 8 goals up, losing a player for a couple of minutes.
So Gallagher.
Obstruction, goal attack, centre third.
And Sirens have come out strongly in this last quarter as well. Won a couple of balls off Loughborough early doors. Just about finishing it off. Better play from Barry. I think she's stronger coming forward onto the ball. Chavina's a lot more comfortable doing that. That was a nice change from Ella Clark there. She didn't just look for the obvious ball into Chollock, offloaded it to Jess Shaw, gave Chollock time to settle and reposition.
Advantage obstruction, goal defence.
And just that flat ball in. What great hands from Everett. Probably can't believe her luck coming in at chest height. Just literally had to stick out her hand. Great movement to get around and to do it cleanly. And look at the transition from Loughborough straight under that post. There we go, reverse arm, keeps it in.
Sanders obstruction, wing defence.
Loose ball there from Jess Shaw. And it's just, didn't recognise the double from Mulheron there, and Gibbons dropping in. Look at that from Sirens, that's just sloppy stuff. Absolutely no need for Nichols to be dropping that ball there.
Clark calling.
Contact.
Gibbons saw it, just giving a little note to self to run her feet. She did see it, she tried to get across there, but she stopped beforehand. Well, a rebound from Gibbons. And look at that, straight into the hands of Hannah Joseph. How frustrating for the Sirens bench. Did all the hard work.
Increased to 10, the lead, 36-46. 11 minutes remaining in this final quarter. And it's not overtime, that's just a glitch in their timing clock system. Sirens looking for the space.
And having to work the ball around the circle edge again, giving Panagari and Shaw an opportunity. Got Everett there looking for that offload. A really active circle in there now, a young defensive circle. But look at the work rate from Panagari. Been so impressed with her today. In the past few weeks, she's really ground out results and victories for her team. She just never gives up.
Loughborough!
56-47, just over 10 minutes remaining till full time.
Oh, Maxwell there with the leap. Everett didn't see it coming.
Hold time, please. Wing defence. Caution, intentional contact.
That's the grind out from Panagari, saying it's an intentional one as well. But honestly, that's just, she goes for ball. She's quite happy to go for ball, and she'll go to it till the bitter end with you. That's a better feed when Abernethy into Barry. Lovely take as well. Not seen enough of that from this evening. Look at that leap, arms out from Maxwell. So hard when players are 5 foot off you. We're taught a lot to go 3 foot, arms over, put real pressure on the feed, but sometimes when people are off, you throw a flatter ball, you think, oh, okay, that's open. There you go, Kathy got that one. And then suddenly someone comes in with the smother.
Advantage obstruction. Contact. Just come through on the hand, goalkeeper. Outside the goal circle. Outside, yes. Contact on the ball, goal defence. Advantage.
Sirens still hanging on in there. Lightning have certainly never had enough time in each quarter to really push the game on. Every time they've sort of taken that lead, Sirens have just been clinging on in there, winning them some ball again.
Contact from behind, goal defence.
Given sort of right, so she thought she got that one cleanly, but look, it was a really quick ball from Jess Shaw. Great vision to just put it straight in. Great confidence as well.
So Ella Clark rolls one in. She's missed a few here today, unusually. Shooting at 71%, popping in 10 from 14 on the other team, though, Sirens. Well, Emma Barry only missed one all afternoon, shooting at 96%, the young Strathclyde Siren.
Yeah, I don't think it's her accuracy. I think under the post she's really strong. It's more about the take.
That's intentional contact. It's been persistent. It's a caution for persistent and intentional contact. Wait, players, please. Wait.
There you go. Jackie just talking to the players again, making sure it's very clear. So intentional contact. And it often happens, umpires will call it if they think you're trying to slow the game down.
Contact.
So there was another turnover there. So it was, you know, they don't want them to get a quick break.
Bandage off, side ring defence.
Another miss from Clark there, Trollope cleaning that up. Interestingly, I think this often happens with the goal attack, goal shooter combination. You know, Mary Trollope sitting on 39 from 44, Ella Clark 10 from 15.
Hold time. Wing defence, you're on a caution for intentional obstruction. That's now a warning for intentional. Outside.
So we've got another caution and warning, quite a few going into this game. We'll be lucky to get to the end without a sending off at this rate. Players need to tidy it up. It's clearly the pet hate of the umpires today. They're calling it now. They've had enough opportunity to stop what they're doing.
Two captains in, please. Two captains. Ladies, contact and obstruction, the infringement of the rules is becoming persistent throughout the court and in the goal circles. I want you to go to your teams, please, speak to them, and I'd like netball to be played.
Contest
Could I ask for... No, it's more than contest because the infringements are now being penalised. Please go to your teams and discuss.
It's an unusual move there, so umpires calling the players in. I'm not sure we've seen that yet all season. Yeah, so they've brought them all in. They're asking them to just warn the players. 7 minutes left, you know, to tidy up with the contact and the obstruction. Interestingly, Nat Panagari there, she asked whether it was a contest, so she's quite happy with the level of it. I'm not sure she'll feel that when she looks in the mirror after the game, because she's got a nice little black eye coming there.
Goal attack, last miss umpire.
There's a query in the game at the moment, though, about the amount of contest you're allowed to do, whether it is contact or not.
So both sides taking advantage to give some players some court time here. Changes for Sirens and for Lightning. Under 8 minutes remaining.
Yeah, so Neve McCall going into that goal attack role for Sirens. For Lightning down the other end, bringing Lucy Parise onto goal attack. So we're looking to rest Ella Clark now. Feel they've got enough time in the bank, get one of the youngsters on. Let her see this game out. She's got quite a few minutes this season. Lucy Parise, nice and steady, beautiful shot, happy to shoot from anywhere.
Offside goal attack, free pass, goal third, on court. Yes.
So, sure for Lightning. Finding the space.
Bankers obstruction, the ring defence.
I'm going to say that was a pass under the post. It was a very smart pass under the post as well. But that's the beauty of having that tall shooter under there. You can look like you're going to post and you can still offload. Another held ball, great arms from Everett. And even McCall's fresh into the game. It's quite hard when you've just come on to get into the pace of it. No, we're end to end now. Tip from Maxwell.
Contact centre penalty.
Contact, goalkeeper.
Neve McCall happy with that feed. Quick one into Barry.
Obstruction, goal defence.
This time she was bumped off court.
So another one pops in for Sirens, confirmation of those changes. Coming up to 5 minutes remaining until full time. Take by Cholhock, and another one is popped in.
Obstruction centre outside. Yes.
Interesting, that's the first call we've had, I think, since the teams have had a chat with each other. Come back and refresh. Sometimes it just makes just a breather, just everyone to recognise what's going on. And there's so much turnover of ball going on in sort of that middle third and entering into the end third. It's difficult sometimes because you've just lost the ball and you're out of position. You often just put a cheeky arm out or just a little dig on your player. You know, and it comes with frustration as well. Oh, Edgar read that so well. It's really signposted there from Parise.
Nice contact, goal attack. On the leg.
And this time an attacking contact from McCall. Deemed to have pushed through those two defenders.
Vantage contact, wing attack.
Obstruction, goal defence, penalty. Hold time. Where the goal defence is, on court. Contact, goal defence.
Lay up there from
It's the first one. I've been waiting all day for one. And in the final 5 minutes, she gives us her first layup of the day. Didn't go in, but the second attempt did. And it puts another one on the board then for Lightning, 41-53. Barry, oh, she's had a good game, the young shooter.
Game's starting to open up in these last few minutes. There's Mulherron again. Just the footwork to come in around the back, confuse the space from Parise. Better ball from Maxwell, got it across all the mess. You know, you want to get it to the edge here and be able to feed it in. Can do on the second time of asking.
Vantage obstruction, goal attack.
Unfortunately, McCall first shot of the game.
Contact on the ball.
Yeah, better hold that time. Hannah Joseph right on the edge, allowed the roll from Mulherron before she fed that ball. Oh, which Loughborough defender wants it? Panagari, then Osola. Everett finally cleans it up. But they were so active on trying to win that ball nice and early. They're causing teams all kinds of problems by doing that.
So you see the cogs turning in the head of Gail Parata before that pulse match tomorrow. And Panagari stopping Velcro and taking her exit, stage right. We'll swap them for Loughborough Lightning with under 3 minutes remaining of this first match of the Easter weekend. Mary Cholhock puts another one in to extend the lead for Loughborough Lightning, now on the verge of their 10th win of the season. This is what Sarah Bayman would have wanted, back to winning ways.
Yeah, they've had to work hard for it. Rosie Harris getting involved in that at the bench, very happy. First touch of the ball, not bad, eh? But yeah, look, this is, Loughborough have had to work hard today. They've definitely not had it their own way. But, you know, why should they? We've seen that from all the bottom teams at the minute. It's kind of the year of the underdog, isn't it? You know, absolutely nothing to lose, on their home ground. Tried different combinations, taken it to Loughborough. It's only really been this last sort of 6 or 7 minutes that they've let it get away from them. But just the class of Loughborough, and look, you can see once the game's opened up how effective they are.
Held, no goal.
Cowball on the shot, waited for the, tried to pull the fake of the defender, didn't come.
Contact, goal defence.
So 2 minutes to go. Loughborough Lightning, I'm going to now say confidently, I'm going to say, with a 13-goal advantage.
Are you happy now?
Yeah, I'm happy now. I'm confidently saying it when it's that shorter till the end of the match. Oh, another layup. She had the massive stride in. Second attempt, it goes in for Cholhock. Remember, they're in 4th position in the Super League table, Loughborough Lightning with 27 points. This win will take them to 30, so they'll edge away a little bit more from Saracen Mavericks, who play Celtic Dragons later tonight.
No, interesting. At the moment, all the teams have got their own destiny in their hands. You know, big games coming up this weekend. Mavericks versus Bath is going to be huge. You know, who's going to come away victorious in that? But Lightning probably in their run-in. This is one of their must-win games. They've still got Thunder to play, of course. Another big game tomorrow.
Indeed, as we've mentioned, Sirens will play Pulse tomorrow and then end their season with 2 massive matches for the Scottish side against Wasps and Mavericks. Tough games for them to end the season. And tomorrow, as Tamsin's just said, Loughborough Lightning take on Manchester Thunder. And then they're away to Pulse and Celtic Dragons to end their regular season.
She finally got the layup.
3rd time lucky.
Obstruction, goal attack. Obstruction. Into the face, wing attack. Yes. Bandit obstruction, goal defence. Bandit offside centre. Contact, goal defence. Yes.
Final 10 seconds then of Sirens Lightning.
Obstruction, goal attack.
It's going to be the third. Not the third victory for Strathclyde Sirens that they were after, but it's back to winning ways for Loughborough Lightning. The ball's thrown away by Sirens. There's the Loughborough Lightning bench. Well, they have to be happy with the win and the 3 points, but it ends 44-59. Loughborough Lightning back to winning ways in the Super League.
I think they should be happy. They've done their job. They tactically changed things. Players reacted to what they did. Players came on and made impact. It's a fantastic result for Loughborough. No slip-ups, just what they needed. Everyone's come through unscathed. Move on to the next game.
And the next one has been mentioned for Lightning will be Thunder tomorrow. But of course, Manchester Thunder still have to play today. But a huddle from Loughborough Lightning, a smile from Mary Cholhock. She netted 49 from 57 today, shooting at 85%. Quick mention to Emma Barry as well, shot at 96% today, the young shooter for Strathclyde Sirens. But it is Sarah Bayman's side that get back to winning ways here in the Super League. And at the moment, cement their place in 4th in the Super League. So the players leave the court, but Hannah Wilkes, you're right in the centre of it.
I certainly am now. Nat Panagari back to winning ways for Lightning, but my goodness, didn't you have to work for that one?
Made it a bit hard, didn't we, again? Yeah, it was a tough game and we knew it was always going to be now. This league is just feisty and anyone can take anyone, and that's really exciting. And I think we just took our foot off the pedal again with the start, and we just need to come out firing and just know what we can do in the kind of last few quarters, what we can do at the start.
It was such a physical game. I can't remember seeing referees speak to captains before and getting you to speak to your team.
Yeah, I think it's just obviously we're going for ball and we're going for contest, and there's nothing malicious in it at all. I think it's just you're putting your body on the line, and that's what you want to do to get things set for your team.
I noticed as well, when you were off for the last couple of minutes of the game, you were still screaming at your team from that sideline. I mean, it's a convincing win with the scoreline as it is, but with the Super League so tight, how much were you just pushing them on to try and get those extra goals? Because goal difference is so important this year.
Yeah, it's massive for us, and obviously we didn't have the best start of the season, and kind of those starting games did let us down with the goal difference, so every goal's mattered, so I was just kind of egging them on just to try and get to that 60 goal, but we're just short from it.
A win's a win, that's all that counts. Tough game this afternoon. You've got Thunder, of course, tomorrow. Challenging, is it not, to regroup so quickly after a game like that to go again in a really, really difficult match?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to recover well and kind of know what works for your body now, and just make sure that you can come out with strong legs. And tomorrow, to me, a great game versus there. When we played them last time, it was great. It was so physical, and hopefully it'll be a good match tomorrow.
Well, Ice Bar's probably awake, but to make it a little bit sweeter, you are our Vitality Player of the Match. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
So 3 points then for Loughborough Lightning, but of course we have more Super League netball to come here this afternoon. New franchise London Pulse are taking on the league leaders, Manchester Thunder.
I'm not fighting no more. Love is easy, love is not war. It was always in your core, so show 'em what you're made of. And you will learn if you fly, not crawl. Paint your writing on the wall.
And that match is up next on Sky Sports. It is Pulse against Thunder. In about 15 minutes time, we'll have all the analysis and build-up. The first centre pass is at 4 o'clock, but another great game for you on this bumper weekend of netball on Sky Sports. And with Tracy and Tamsin. Tracy, what did you make of that game?
It was a little bit slow out the box. I think Nat Panagari really summed up the game well. They wanted a really good start to get that confidence, but we said after half-time it was who put the foot on the accelerator, and I do think that, you know, Loughborough started to get a lot of confidence, ball started to flow a lot freer, Sirens started to make probably the characteristic mistakes that they make, and then obviously they were able to make the changes, rest a little bit of legs for tomorrow and think about. And I think this game was always about getting through it. Because actually the real focus for Loughborough is tomorrow to get them points against Thunder, but also to try and win this one as well. And that is quite tough for a coaching and for a team to say this one's got to get through, but it's a must-win. So it's probably where we expected it to be, I think, this game.
Yeah. Loughborough, they wanted to get to 60. They didn't almost hit it. It's 59. But as Tracy said, a massive game against Manchester Thunder tomorrow, which we'll keep you up to date with. How do you prepare for that as a player? What do you do tonight? What do you do tomorrow morning?
Rest, sleep, ice, recovery, whatever you need to do to make sure you can get up and run around. I honestly don't think for the players it's a problem. I know that sounds crazy, but fitness-wise, they do this at World Cup, they do this at Commonwealth Games. We've done it before. You can play back-to-back games. It's about the coaching now. It's about how they go away from that game and go, right, how are we going to prepare for Thunder tomorrow? Something completely different in the circle, Catherine Turner, Mavula, completely different in the defensive end, and you have to start doing that. You've got no training time, so you've got to go back, watch some video. How much of that game do you take? How much of it do you leave behind? What have you already talked about beforehand? So it's a real interesting one for how the players pretty much regroup with the coaching staff and what they look at for tomorrow.
Yeah, can't wait to see the dynamic tomorrow. Yeah. We've got to get to Hannah. She's with Sarah Bayman right now.
Sarah, as you walked towards me across the court just now, you did not look like a coach that had just got a very important win.
No, I'm not an overly happy coach, if I'm being honest. You know, we got the win and that was really important today, and it got to the point in that game where it was just by any means necessary because we didn't play well at all. We turned over enough ball today. We just squandered so much and, you know, basic errors, and just really struggled to execute under pressure.
What do you think were the reasons behind that and why it was such a kind of inconsistent, sort of sloppy game in parts?
We've been struggling with our start, and we struggled again today. We started really slowly. Sirens did a good job of clogging up the middle of the court, and we just didn't have our vision open. And then, you know, we felt like we needed a bit more coming out from defence, so we moved Nat back, and that helped. But yeah, I think we were just up and down, and we got a bit of momentum, and then we'd chuck a couple of cheap balls away, and so it was a tough one. But like a 15-goal win, I would have been happy with before the start. But I think it was just the nature of the performance I was a little bit disappointed with.
And I mean, usually after a game like that, you want to take a moment, sit back, digest it, look at things that happen on court and progress from there. But you've got Thunder tomorrow. How on earth do you regroup, reassess, and get ready for that game?
Quickly. We'll take a little bit of time to think about what happened in that game. We can't afford to analyse it too heavily because we've got to move on to Thunder. But yeah, we'll kind of get the messages across for Thunder tomorrow, and hopefully some learning will have taken place from ourselves and from the girls tonight, and just get ready to go again.
Thanks very much, Sarah. Good luck tomorrow.
Cheers.
Tracy, how do you get off to a quick start? How do you tell your team to get off to a quick start? I mean, it's not easy. What's the secret?
Put rockets up them just before they come out the changing room. I don't know. I think, we've got to respect the 2 weeks that Loughborough have had as well. They've had the confidence knocked a little bit, and they were coming. But it was
close against Team Bath. I mean, it was 53-53 with 5 minutes to go. Yeah. But she's not been happy with the way they've been playing.
Yeah, and it's the win and loss. And she said there's some things in the game that she's really not happy with. The squandering of cheap ball, the way they're starting the game. And I think today was more, they knew they had to get through it because they've got a massive game tomorrow and they needed the points. However, it was finding form again. And, when you come out of a game when you've lost, it's about finding form. And it's interesting what she said about preparing tonight. They can't dwell on this game. They won it. And you go away, you think, actually, we won this. Take out the good things from this game. Don't reflect on the negative things, because Thunder play in a different style tomorrow. They've got different key players that they need to home in on and stop and prevent. And I think that's really, really important. Lay that bed to, let's reflect on that, when it's real necessary to do so, because if you do, then you're going in thinking, actually, we didn't start well. How can we start well?
Don't overanalyse.
It was so funny years ago. I don't know with Tamsin, they used to blame the warm-up, but you're like, we did the same warm-up against a team we excelled in the first. So you're like, so then they changed the whole warm-up, and we're like, no, actually, that's not how you start a game well. The warm-up's obviously important, but you're like, actually,
it's nothing.
It gets in
with the warm-up.
Yeah,
it's not, and it's excuses for me.
Yeah, of course it is. Okay, Hannah is with Gail right now.
Gail, before that game, you spoke about the importance of really taking the game to your opposition for the whole game. Do you feel like you did that today?
Well, no, not really, in the last quarter especially, but I think they raised their level and we didn't quite keep up, but really proud of how the girls played today. I was really pleased with our young shooter in there. I think she shot 97%, and that's her first full game in a Super League match, so pleased with her. And at the other end, in our defensive end, we got some really good ball off a quality shooting team, so there were some aspects that I'm pleased, but we still got work to do.
You certainly have as well. It was such a physical game out there on court today. Do you think the umpires got a lot of the calls right? We saw both captains having to speak to the two teams at one point.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That seems to happen in all our matches. But, I think that's just the umpires trying to keep control of the match. I didn't notice the physicality as much. We've had more physical matches than that one. I thought that the Loughborough through-court defensive effort was really good, and that's where we were really challenged. We couldn't get the ball through court, and so you saw that we had a lot of changes to try and get the ball through, and I think bringing Brownie into the mid-court, that really helped us to get the ball through to our shooters.
You're playing London Pulse tomorrow afternoon. Based on your performance today, how confident are you of getting your third win of the season tomorrow?
Well, with London Pulse, obviously, we're both at the bottom, so we've got a lot to play for. We've got to go in there confident, but it'll be the team that do the least amount of errors. We can't afford to do the errors that we did today in order to win tomorrow. So if we can cut that down, then we're in with a chance. And you saw today our shooters can put it away when we really need it.
I'm sure you'll be watching this next game very closely. Thanks, Gail.
Thank you.
I'm sure eagle eyes on the next game, so she can have a game plan against London Pulse tomorrow. But when they did get the balls through, Emma Barrow was impressive, Tamsin.
Yeah, look, under the post, can't falter, 97%. I thought she was fantastic. Goes to goal. Much better in the front position, as you can see there. So coming onto the ball, she's not as confident the minute going into backspace. So you see there that pop and step onto it. But with her height, it would be great to see her start working on this ball, getting the ball over the top, because I think there were so many opportunities where Sirens wanted to put it in, but they were a bit hesitant about doing it, and it gave Loughborough another opportunity to win some balls. So look, a fantastic talent, great to have for Sirens and Scotland to have some height in the circle, because you can see all the difference it makes. She will just get better and better and better.
You're impressed with her?
I am, and I'm impressed with the way Parata's worked her youth. I've been watching her obviously over the last 4 years, and you know, that girl has been, Scotland were waiting for a girl like that, another Leslie MacDonald, to come through and create that stability in there. And you know, but it's about producing a couple of shooters as well. They went obviously into Commonwealth Games with one main shooter. And I think now just having that, you know, the change in style, the rotational one, and then going to the height. But she's 17-year-old, you know.
Amazing.
She's a threat for World Youth Cup. So obviously, she's a kid that we've been watching for, I've been watching for a couple of years.
Wow, really, God, goosebumps. Can't wait to see more and more of her. Let's turn our attention back to Loughborough Lightning and Nat Panagari. What did she provide to Loughborough today?
Deserved player of the match. She just grinds out performances for them, and she's got so much experience at the last few years, missing out on the final. She is a pain to play against. She was inspirational in the attack end. You can see with the feed there, happy to let it go. She just leads by example. She never stops running. She is constantly happy to hassle in defence. She's not the tallest of players, but she is on you. I can tell you. You're on the circle, she's on you. You're coming through the court, she's on you. She's quite happy to have a little dig, go through, win some ball, but she is just determined and gritty, and she leads her team, and that's why she got player of the match. And actually that's why Loughborough have been dragging back and grinding teams down. They ground Sirens down today. They made errors because they were forced into errors because of that defensive pressure, and she leads it the whole time.
And Hannah Jones is another player that stood out today.
Yeah, definitely, and I think she got momentum as she went through, and I think Jess Shaw really impacted on that. I think when Jess went into that middle, she created that little bit of a dynamic speed, that change of direction, which enabled to do Hannah Joseph's strengths when she, you know, she gets into them deep positions and she's able to feed that ball. And I think she made a difference when she started to change the timing of her feed into the circle, slow it down, change it, sometimes put first time ball in, sometimes change that and put second and third second ball in. And you know, she started to develop a relationship with Mary, where I think at the start she was getting caught too high or too far to the sideline. So I think she started to get into that game.
Okay, so Loughborough tomorrow, they play Manchester Thunder. What would be a successful weekend for Loughborough?
Winning. Win both.
6 points.
Look,
It's got to
I
be
said
6
it
points.
up in comms, that all the teams at the moment, their destiny is their own hands. You know, Loughborough go out tomorrow and beat Thunder, suddenly everything changes again. Thunder have lost 4 games, Lightning have still only lost 5. So, you know, it's all about what they can do tomorrow. They won't be looking at Thunder above them. They're going, this is in our hands. We want to make top 4. We're going to beat them.
Okay, well, we have our next game coming up in about 15 minutes' time. All the build-up to that is Pulse against Thunder next. First against 10th in the Super League table on Arena and Mix. And the crowd is swelling here at the Emirates Arena. Loughborough have been victorious over the home side Sirens. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Be waking up at someone else's place. I know I drink too much, can't pay my rent this month. I should be saving up, but I just got paid. I'm broke, but I'm balling. Don't know where we're going. We go in when we go out. I just got paid. I'm broke, but I'm balling. Don't know where we're going. We go in when we go out. I just got paid.
Getting active brings its own rewards.
Lifting a leg. My speciality.